And we are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Top of the morning. Peace and blessings be with you. I'm starting my day. We're going to start rapid fire. Official test start time 2 minutes, 5 pages, 5 paragraphs each, 5 words per sentence, 5 computer spaces in between, 5 revisions. 5 words per sentence, 5 computer spaces in between. You can use your hyper-scientific. You can use any artificial intelligence. You can use any technology, but you must share the work with the class. If you do not, I'm going to assume that all you did was use technology and you guys will get zero credit for it. So let's start the day. What we got? We have a large milk water with ice. We have a large premium roast. I'm starting to collect these. Why? I don't know. I just think they're freaking awesome. So let's see what kind of graphics we got today. It's the same one we had. We got the Grinch one time. So these are popular. Large premium roast, non-decaf, 7 cream, 7 sugars for today. My sugar's low. I'm in a lot of pain and discomfort. And there's a lot of things that I want to address, right, into the universe. Give you guys a little change in atmosphere, right? But please join me. I have a lot on my plate, a lot on my mind. So, long story short, eh, we've had finals for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We have other modules to work on for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Today's the 21st. So we're on a 10-day countdown to the New Year's. Business is going to be a little bit hectic. Today's one of those days where I'm kind of using this situation to reflect on everything, right? So as it begins to cool down, I got my sweater in there and I have my jacket. But let's start rapid fire. What do you do when you're certain that the situation is very clear? And although the situation is very clear, you have those that select to view it in a cloudy or foggy way. I can put it in baby terms, right? You see a baby crying. The baby doesn't have to be related to you. You don't have to know the baby. If you see a baby crying, you're gonna pick the baby up. You're gonna comfort that baby, see what's going on with that baby, right? If for whatever reason you're in abundance, let's say you're having a barbecue, and in the way to your vehicle to get some supplies or things that you need for the barbecue, as you're traveling back to where your loved ones are, right? You see somebody that's obviously down and out, hungry, starving, struggling, going through changes, right? What does it truly cost you to say, you know what, I have an extra plate of some mashed potatoes and some mac and cheese. It's not much, but I have a soda as well. You okay? Can I give you a water bottle just in case? You don't have to eat it now. You can eat it later. Since I started my technology company, this has been the tail of the tape. This is how it's been. I didn't expect everybody to understand when I was doing everything else, right? But the amount of people that went out of their way to be what we call dream killers was amazing to me. I never expected that. I didn't understand the psychosis or psychology of a person who even thinks that way, right? And I had to learn the hard way that people are very afraid to step out of the comfort zone. And when you showcase natural abilities to fight for the greater good, you're highlighting things that they're petrified of. They've been indoctrinated to believe that, life is a certain way and there's no other way for success to be attainable, right? So what that has done for me is provide like a different dynamic, you know what I mean? How can I express what I feel in my heart is very easy to understand when you have a compelling heart and when you want to understand the situation. One of my brothers and my mentors and one of my business partners to this day is Jonas Devasai. He's one of my mentors, right? We used to laugh and joke. We used to say things like, we can play dumb and stupid very, very well. What do we mean like by that, right? It wasn't about being sarcastic or belittling people. It was more a respectful way to let people know, like, I fully understand when someone is trying to take advantage um, of the situation because we're minorities, we're dark skinned, we put hot sauce on everything. We like the Lakers as much as we like the Yankees, but we love the Dodgers. You get what I'm trying to say? Everything is a balance. I love the Saints. Doesn't mean I don't like the Eagles. That's one of my teams. You know what I mean? Um, it's just like everything. People rode the Patrick Mahomes wave. That faded away. They pinned this kid up to think that he was better than Brady. Obviously, he's not. You get what I'm saying? It took for that cycle to happen, Brady to step out, for people to realize this kid is good, but he's no Tom Brady. There's only one Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so. Everybody has their thing that God gives them. Right? Steve Jobs made an amazing smartphone. You can't take that away from him. You know what I mean? That's just life, right? Normally, before I eat, I try to hydrate in the morning. And as much as I wanted to eat, I feel that this is important to like break down, right? So I find myself in this moment of reflection where I have to once again make tough decisions to walk away from a situation that ultimately is toxic. Now, one of my advisors highlighted a point for me, which I'm going to share with you. Right? Sometimes we give people, places, and things an opportunity because we feel that, you know, people can change, things can change, etc. Sometimes to our own detriment because we continue to give situations an opportunity that may not necessarily warrant that or deserve that. And we continuously get our hearts broken because people are not as willing to embrace a change, even if the change is for their greater good. So for me, it is a spiritual battle. This entire journey has been a spiritual battle, you know, and the reason why I bring you guys along in this journey is because I gave you guys my word that I will show you how I built a multi-billion-dollar company from scratch. And I have delivered on my word. You know, again, throughout the middle of all of this, breaking news. First, it was the weekend signs this multi-billion-dollar deal. Charlemagne the God closes a $200 million deal with bonuses and incentives. About million plus more per week. You get what I'm saying? Now the floodgates are starting to open. Where did the money come from this deal? We're talking about Netflix. This is right back in our realm. There has been a breakthrough in the threshold. What does that mean? Whatever we want it to mean. We have to look at our portfolio. We have to look at everything in the sense of like an evaluation. What can we learn from it? What are the details? I already knew, and shout out to Earth Gotti, may he rest in the heavenly realm. Um, from his deal, what the potential could have been, because that deal structure identified what would be the future of music and entertainment. So, as this is happening, we have to wait until July of next year. That's a whole half a year. Unfortunately, I have to continue to negotiate. Unfortunately, I cannot just wait until July because the powers that be, you know, have more reach than I do. I can wait for the negotiation clause to kick in effect, which is on the 8th of January, and continue to negotiate, even though maybe a deal can be put together um, during that time frame or beyond that time frame. I don't know I have no answer to that because I have to see how the market develops, right? But in a similar fashion, moments like this is like when the fun stops, when the movie and the story is going along amazing, right? And all of a sudden, these hidden, unknown challenges step into place. And all you can do is acknowledge the fact that these challenges are here. At the end of the day, we're still dealing with people. No matter how well we can execute in business, we're still dealing with people. And when people are going through negative things, they tend to project that. Not always, but they tend to project more of that to keep themselves in that loop of the chaos and the drama. I reached a threshold where I had to walk away from toxic relationships, toxic people, places, circumstances, things, business partnerships. It really built character. And I thank God every day that I walked away from an investment, got in my car, and found a new path. As hard as it was, eating from the value menu, maybe running on a cup of coffee per day, but still pushing forward, still trying to take things to the next level, right? So, again, in this situation, I cannot look at it from an entrepreneur standpoint. I can't look at it from an engineer standpoint. I can't look at it from uh, an investor standpoint or even as an artist. You know what I mean? This is more like peeling back some of the deepest layers. As a matter of fact, one of the people in my management team, we had a conversation on a personal note, and subconsciously, this person's insecurities made a reappearance. There have been some time. There have been enough positive things in the company where this person was driven and this person was motivated. But at the slight increase in pressure, the insecurity came out. And I also noticed that this happened with several people in the company. I've been busy and I haven't been able to reach back out. But because of their previous and prior behavioral pattern, I know they're assuming that maybe I took the conversation into offense, which I did not. I'm just non confrontational. If I make a decision, I'm going to take 72 hours. That's the corporate standard. I'm not going to make a decision less than that. Not only for myself, but for all parties involved. So sometimes I have to remind the people in my staff and in my team that I'm going to take 72 hours to respond. Doesn't mean I feel this way or that way, or I'm feeling a different way throughout 24 hours of each segment that's in the 72 hours. No. Um, I like to take pride in myself to process things for 15, 20 minutes out of one day, and that's it. It took years before it would be like 2 hours out of the day. Then it was 1 hour. Then it was like 30 minutes. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to give this 15 to 20 minutes. And after that, life is going to go on. We're going to continue moving forward. But as an entrepreneur, I think about my students and I think about potential situations that they could find themselves in, right? What do you do in a situation like this? You move forward. You do not let that shit stop you. You analyze it, you process it, take notes. Again, during that 72-hour period, you're going to have different thoughts, different emotions, different feelings, different urges, different impulses. But you have to remind yourself to stay calm. I'm going to go ahead and grab my jacket and my sweater, and I'm going to eat my hash brown. I'm going to finish my water and start drinking my coffee, and we can get started. We just kind of wanted to share that with you guys. It's something that you guys will find on the podcast, which we'll do in class. But now I have to see if I can reach this. Right now, I'm in a situation where it's been a long week, it's been a productive week, and yet I find myself with the diamond to the grindstone, right? And I have no choice. I have to keep doing it, Priorities, goals, aspirations. My lawyer had a survey where she asked, what motivates artists during moments where there may be no motivation, right? And a very small percentage actually said support from the fans. For me, it's internal inspiration daily, but when it comes to my fans, my fans always find a way to, cheer me back up and motivate me to keep going, you know what I'm saying? So let's see how we could do this. In one quick second. As you can see, we have upgraded some of our hardware. My headphones are brand new. They were a very nice gift from my family. I greatly appreciate it. One less thing to be concerned with. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna remove this. You guys should be able to hear me. And take off my beanie. Thank God I shaved yesterday. I had a full rehearsal yesterday. And even though I started late because I went to take some time to engage, I greatly appreciate it, you know what I mean? So I was looking forward to it, you know what I mean? Just looking forward to it. Look at my baby, yo. That play led to 3 championships, yo. My son got a parade. He's in the history books forever, dude. Triple crown. All 3 championships, yo. That's my baby boy right there. Got a Lamborghini SVJ Roadster for him. Gonna surprise him. I bought it for him a long time ago. Put it away in storage. Just waiting for him to hit that birthday. Then he can have it. Son knows how to drive. He has his license, but still young, That car is 700 horsepower plus, you know what I mean? All right. More better. More better. All right. Almost there, y'all. Let us continue. We're like a samurai putting on his armor, right? Where did I put this thing? All right. Sorry, in theory, oh, that's what it is. It's a lot to say. I'm in a lot of pain, by the way. So, I just had surgery, so still in the recuperation phase. Even though, you look in the mirror, you look the same, you want to do extra stuff, but I really cannot force my body like that. Not that I don't want to, it's that I physically cannot. So I could be more comfortable. But I felt in my heart that it was extremely important to share those things, you know what I mean? Because my belief is that it's going to at least help one person. At least one person is gonna benefit. At least one person is gonna have a breakthrough. And it may be your piece of advice that you put in your social media or whatever. Nothing is formatted. Everything has changed. So all we could do is move forward. So I want you guys to write your first paragraph for the psychology series. What do you guys think? Are you pro? Are you con? What do you agree with and what do you disagree with? And while you guys do that, I am going to check on a few things as I start the day. So we'll check the markets, we'll see what's going on in the world. Now, attention to my management team. We have to do research on this Charlemagne deal. I think DJ Academics did a great job breaking it down. He mentioned things like the bonuses. He really, Academics knows the stuff. So shout out to you, Academics. On the business side. Give us a little bit of background music. Let's go with Havana Salsa Club. A little something, something. What do you guys think? Just to have it in the background a little bit. Bon appetit. I have a few clients for some SF90s. So that's what I'm going to be picking up today for tomorrow. Got a white LaFerrari. That just came in. It's not white, it's like a bone white, like a beige. Let me see what's the cheapest good mileage SF90 that I can find. So the car aged better than most people anticipated.
there anything else I can get for you? That's fine. Have a great day. Thank you.
SF90 Spider with some wheels on it. Wow, what a difference. 400 miles, 2025. Very nice. Damn, this is nice. And that's about in my book. This will be peekaboo. I like to name my cars. This one I'm gonna get for my brother. My older brother, you know what I mean? And just like that. Power of Bitcoin. Money. That car's in the inventory. Very nice machine. Very, very nice machine. Alright. Let's continue. Now we can get an adjustment to my voice there and see what we have in the inventory. Can't do business till tomorrow morning, but I can look. Another thing too, for the people that reach out, remember that I'm Jewish and my office is only open Monday through Wednesday. So everything is always going to be postponed for the following week. That's something very important to mention. So the only days now I'm allowed to do business. 512 TR, high mileage. I can make an offer on this car. This one I rebuild it. I like this one because it has characters being used. I had 2 of these cars stolen before, and God continues to bless me with them. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised. People think that they're doing you harm. And all they're doing is opening another door for you to have more success. The baby's looking at the Christmas tree. The baby's talking to his dad. Mother looking at the decorations on the Christmas tree. Very nice. A lot of good deals coming up for tomorrow. All those cars can go. And that one's still going for 100. Okay. The 98 355 hardtop. Continental one. Let's hold on to that one. Take that off the lot. There's an 02360 Spider. Take that off the R22. Let me see. At 430, those three are going to go together. If they want to buy them, you're going to have to buy all three. So I'll do all three for 600,000. Delivered anywhere internationally. Let's start the bid at 7.2 Bitcoin. Spent about 55 Bitcoin yesterday. So. $5.99 could go. You got an O-ring, Fioriano package. That's a good deal. Our customer's gonna be happy. I got another 98 355. That one can go with the first one. Mileage is about the same. 458 challenge race car, that can go. California Turbo, that one can go too. 2017, 25,000 miles. A little high mileage, but it's going to be turbos anyway. And not using factory parts, so aftermarket. And we build it like a Japanese tuner with graphics on it. Pick back up as soon as I find this SF90. And another challenge. Yeah, that's a good deal, yo. We'll put a buy on that. Mm, I don't have a target price. Probably, I want to say 4 or 5, possibly. Possible. 5 for sure. I'll find something, but 4 and change, depending on the mileage. Plus, I have a new one that's Spider that I'm gonna give away to my brother. So that one will be a good. You could drive for 2 years straight out of it to sell it back to me. You know what I mean? Common sense, So that's not a problem. Alright, from the Turbo 48 Challenge, that one goes with the other one. You got a 348. The 348, I'm gonna package it with the 360 because those cars come from the same collection. Mileage is about the same, and that way I don't have to break another collection. And look at that one. That one is a buy. That one is a buy. 4,000, 3,000. Okay. Yo, I'm going to rack up 2 mil. I'm getting like 14 race cars. About 24 Bitcoin here. It's not bad.
Right there.
Tell you what. You know what? Let's narrow it down. Because it's giving me for the Sangway, that's a low mileage. Now, you know what's one thing too, and this is a self inventory, right? Self reflection. I like the SF90 now because there's no new ones. There's not that many available. When the car was in its peak, you know, I uh, I didn't appreciate it as much. You know, I didn't care for it as much. Let me see if it allows me to do it. So let's go SF90 Spider. Let's go Stradale. XX, we got one, and Stradale, we got one. So we'll add those two. I know we just got a purple one in, so that would not be going to the auction. And maybe we could do a dealer trade for it, which that's most likely what I'm trying to do, but it's the holidays, people are emotional, and they don't want a reason, you know what I'm saying? So it's okay. We'll reach out back after January, you know? Alright, so Stradale XX and a Stradale. So now we have over 100, 183 results. 599, 499, and 699. 599, 579, 599. Depends on how they're equipped. Um, what we have here. This pastel blue, that's the one I just picked up. So SF90, low mileage, but it's not giving me a price. Oh, wait a minute. We got a candidate. Wow. That's not bad at all, dude. I think I want that for myself. What's the difference? 22. Oh, okay. The threshold is in the fours. That's a good deal, because I have one with 22,000 miles that I could use for research and engineering. But from an investment standpoint, for less than 10,000, I have one with 5,000 miles. And then it comes down to specs. So 7,000 miles, 5,000 miles, 415. I'm still in range of where I want to be. 2,000 miles. This is 429. So now I have a range. 2,000, 2,000, 430, 440. Color specs, 439. I think we found the new gold mine. But I may only go top tier because I think I found my car. That's one thing. I go out for my clients, you know what I mean? I'm gonna make sure I try to find you the best deal that I can. And if I have to trade something in inventory, I don't have a problem going to get the car for you. So long as the deal is right. And of course, these are my prices. It doesn't include any fees, commissions, etc. But give us the opportunity to earn the business. You know what I'm saying? So, like, okay, I'll give you an example. I got a 22 SF90 Stradale, 978 miles. So, 45,000. Yeah, that's definitely worth it. So it goes down to options. And that's pretty much what it comes down to is options, right? Mileage. Okay, I'll tell you what. Now that we have a price range, let's go by lowest mileage, put it on dealer settings, engineering settings, and we can get some work done that way, right? So lowest mileage, I got one with 25 miles, 50 miles to less than 600, those are 24s. We have 23 to 59 miles. Yo, look at the price, man. 5,000 a month, yo. Put you in this car for $5,000-6,000 a month. mm, Something at price 98, 6, 9. The spec is crazy on that one. I already know. Mm, 23, 116,000 miles for that price. And the lead client is going to get a completely different experience and service. Um, that already, you already know. I spy with my little eye, right? That one's the best deal. It's almost the same color. I have two yellow ones, but the customer can be flexible on the color. We got a deal. So far, I got my top dog. Yep, that one's gonna take it. The other ones just do not match up. Mileage packages on them. I'm not, heavy on the carbon fiber and the interior stuff, but a lot of my clients like that. SF90 Spider, X extra dollar. That one I already had in my inventory. It's hard to sell that car. You know, 699, 700, 580, 200 miles, 539, 559, 23 Spider. That's a good deal too. So I got a hardtop and I got a Spider, same color. So let's put a bid on those two. It's like 90, $, 77, 5. 23 Silver Packers deal, 40 miles. Done. So that's 3 in a row, plus the other one that I have. It's hard to continue to look when I know I already found the gemstones. It's like, nah.
And 1689.
XX Spider in black. Got a good deal on that one. If I can stay around 2,000 miles, I'm beyond the threshold. Damn, look at that's a good deal too. 22, that's like 90, Spider, full livery, body kit. Hard to beat that. Very, very hard to beat that. That's a good deal too. Alright, we should break into the 1,000 plus. Now I have a target goal. I want to stay below 5,000 miles. But if not, I think I found the car. I have some backups too, which I can probably negotiate to different clients. But the thing is, I got to go overseas and make this car popular. You know what I mean? Create all the content around it. SF90 is for Dolly. 22. Okay, that's the yellow one. Damn, that one's hard to beat. The only thing is, that one's on the West Coast, so I know it's been good and very well taken care of. SF90, 1056, Shudale. Or this is it. I'm going back from here. I don't think I'm going to be able to beat that. I'm not going to beat that. So let's go back and find that one and put a bid on that, and at least that should kick in by tomorrow morning. So we'll be Gucci. The price was right, the mileage was right, the packages that were on the car were decent, and I'm just not going to find a better one, man. Not for that price. If I get a good price, I can pass the savings on to my clients and build from there. If I'm not mistaken, this was on the cover of a few of my albums. So this car is symbolic. Let me see, is it the Spider? Okay, I have the Spider and I have the hard top. Hold up. Let me see, the Spider has 50 miles. I'm paying a little bit of a premium, which is not too bad. Right? So the Spider is a 24 with 50 miles. 72 miles. I think it's this one, a 23 with 116. Alright. Ticker symbol BTC. And let's put the hammer down on that one. A17. Oh, that's it. That's the one. That's why I don't even want to waste my time. I'm like, all right, we're going to put a bid on that one. I'll tell Miss Allison to put that one up. And that's it. We'll be all set to go. So, Spider, we got the Spider in. What is this? This is it. 2023 SF90. It's $1. Midnight Blue. Mission accomplished. They did it again. I have the car in California too. Please hit me up on my neck. 504-202-5915. And I want this for my daughter, yo. Yeah, my daughter's gonna like this. Oh yeah. This is for my baby right here. I got her 918 Spider, but I don't want her to drive that every day. Very hard to beat this. Five, five Bitcoin. You could bet 5.2 on this one. And again, this car completely grew on me. I was minding my own business. So, with what I'm going to make off the other cars and the fact that it's low mileage, I get this car for free. Pennies on the dollar. And I'll have like maybe 4 or 5 happy customers. You get what I'm saying? So you divide that, let's say 7, 4, 5. That's good business, man. And yeah, my baby's really gonna like this. Oh yeah, man, I'm not surprised with it. Hybrid. Okay, it's Blue Tour de France 70. Interior is Nero 8500. Mats are Nero 152. Gallo leather. Red inside the Gallo leather. Scuderia shields. Front and back parking sensors. Diamond polish wheels. Special equipment. Color special stitching. Gallo 0113. Wheel studs in titanium. Not bad. I must admit, it's not perfect, but it's gonna take some time. I want to teach my kids early, you know what I mean? Tell like it's a serious business, man. The wheels are the factory joints. There's another one that I like, but this is a model Ferrari, you know what I mean? 116 miles. 116 miles. Maybe we could do the module on that, on the SF90, right? What could we compare it to? We have to compare it to an E-Ray, I guess. No, but it is definitely a medicine machine. Very nice. Not bad. The sun is rising. So we can balance this out a little bit. All right, so that is done. I'll leave this on cue so I can link up to it later today. Let me see. Let me close this up. Pause this real quick. See what's going on in the world. We need to finish the China show. So let's go Bloomberg. Let's go videos. And wait a minute. Next Africa, I want to check that out. Let me put this on my corporate board so everybody knows I'm back in the office. You know what I mean? Open interest, the balls, horizons. Let me double check. I think this was part of the module that we were focusing on.
Watching the China show. I mean, oh man, we're kind of down the open freighter market opens there in China. And our top stories this morning: if the stocks rise as cooling U.S. inflation boosts prospects for more decisive Fed cuts next year, despite questions over the quality of the data. The Bank of Japan
Marcus is
expects
up.
to hike its key rate today to a three-decade high, with investors watching for clues on Governor Ueda's plans for next year. Also ahead, TikTok signs agreements to create a U.S. joint venture majority owned by U.S. investors. And Nike shares fall in late trade as weakness in China and the Converse brand overshadows a quarterly sales beat.
That's clear. A little bit. Not much, but I'm shadow working out, right?
All right, quick look at the market action on this Friday morning. It looks like it could be a happy one as we count down, of course, to the weekend. And we've got to thank, of course, that US CPI print. Flawed or not, right? It's a Swiss cheese print, as some have called it, given the holes that we might have seen in this data.
No wild coins
It
broke
really was
through.
enough to at least turn the Fed doves a little bit more bullish on really what the rate cut cycle is going to look like next year. So that's why you saw stocks were bid up, treasury yields were headting lower as well. So that certainly is lifting the risk sentiment here across the board in Asia. Taipei is certainly seeing it with gains at 1%. Things have come along there. The treasury market is doing this. We're holding on to some of the yield drops that we saw overnight there. 412 for U.S. 10-year yield. Gold is seeing a little bit of pullback there, but interesting call from Goldman Sachs. They're saying that gold prices could head to new records for 2026. So in terms of the commodity side of things, they're expecting 4,900 by the end of December 2026.
Silver hits an all-time high.
When it
That's
comes
been
to
the
bullion
biggest
there. Silver obviously
shaker and
has been
mover.
doing very well. We're extending some of the gains and strength that we've seen of late here. So there you go. Dollar is doing this year. Obviously, we have seen a little bit of more hawkish commentary coming through after the ECB as well as the BOE. Yesterday here, ECB held, but they talk about the growth outlook being pretty firm and both suggesting that there's really limited room for further cuts there. So 133 for sterling here right now. Of course, we're watching the Japanese market very closely. It's come down to this, right? We've been waiting for this for weeks now. Has it all been priced in? That CPI print that we got out of Japan seemed to make this BOJ hike today almost a done deal in some ways, right? So the BOJ is set to raise rates the highest in 30 years. You see how, when it comes to JGB yield, not a lot of movement here right now. Dollar yen is actually back on the softer side of things at 155, 156 levels here right now. Mizuho says if it's a dovish hike, if we hear from any guidance from Ueda that suggests that they're going to be quite cautious in terms of when the next rate hike is going to be, that may push dollar yen towards 158 levels as well. So certainly we'll see what the direction of travel is going to be for the yen here throughout the day. But here you go. When it comes to your China setup, it's pretty quiet overall. Of course, we'll talk a little bit more about this TikTok, the developments there. They've signed agreements for a U.S. sort of JV that includes the like of Oracle. Still needs the approval from China, but certainly when it comes to futures in this market, slightly higher here this morning. It's pretty quiet though, as we talked about. But 703 still seeing some strength when it comes to the currency here today. So that rent fix is obviously on the top of the agenda here today. Nike suppliers as well. Given the slowdown that we're seeing in China, the Converse brand certainly was seeing some weakness there. We'll talk about what this means for suppliers here in the region, which are already moving. Also, what does this mean for some of these big domestic brands and the leisure brands in China as well? They're doing quite well. We talk about the TikTok link stocks, given the developments there with that JV in the U.S. There are some trading debuts as well. We're focusing on CD, Juhui Mining, I should say, among those here. CD, of course, is we talk about autonomous trucks. In the mining business will be quite interesting as well. We do have an exclusive interview with the CEO coming on, and there is a CGB sale to wrap up the week as well. All right, let's get to our top story, which is, of course, the Bank of Japan, widely expected to raise its benchmark rate today to the highest level in 3 decades, in a sign of growing confidence in a stable inflation target. Let's bring in our senior editor, Brian Fowler. He joins us now from Tokyo. It means, what you see with the CPI figures, right? How do you think those figures that we got today fit into this puzzle?
Well, Yvonne, so let's just start with BOJ Ueda. He set very clear hikes in recent weeks that the hike is coming, and he hinted the same in January, the last time they increased interest rates. So that's why the market was very much expecting this hike, and it's priced in. The CPI figures we had this morning only added to the case for a hike. We saw the core rate at 3% for the second straight month, and that's actually the 44th straight month in which inflation has been at or above the BOJ's 2% target. So the data, just one last green flag for a hike. The focus, of course, is going to be on what's next, and we'll be looking for Ueda's comments. Just to point out that Ueda, on occasions when they have hiked interest rates, he tends to sound a little hawkish. He's an ex-academic, so he kind of becomes a professor explaining why the hike was conducted, and that makes him sound hawkish. We'll be looking for any kind of clear hints on what the pace might be in 2026. I will say that we spoke with an ex-senior official at the BOJ, Hayakawa, last week. He's known Ueda for 40 years. He says he thinks the BOJ has fallen a little bit behind the curve, as it was kind of trying to figure out the impact of Trump's tariffs and how political uncertainty would roll out. And he thinks that the BOJ may hike at a 6-month pace twice next year, and then one more, taking the rate up to 1.5% sometime in early 2027. We'll see if other people send signals to that effect.
Yeah, the path for next year is interesting. I think, as you mentioned, it might be a 6-month sort of cycle, right? I think most are priced at the next move, maybe next summer, Brian. But the Prime Minister, Takaichi, she's known to be not really a fan of rate hikes. Will there be any political pushback, you think?
Yeah, so Takaichi, in September of 2024, she famously said that it would be stupid to raise interest rates. That was when she was speaking as a lawmaker. The following month, in October last year, the ruling LDP suffered a huge setback in a national election, lost its majority in the lower house. Same thing happened in July this year with the upper house, another setback, another loss of majority in that house, and that was all really
a lot of the Windows 11 update.
Factors there were concerns about cost of living. Voters are really discontent about soaring prices. So Takaichi is aware of that. She's aware of the political costs of letting inflation run. So she's probably not going to push back. She met with Ueda a few weeks ago. They came out of that meeting seemingly on the same page. I would expect her to say something constructive like she expects the BOJ to continue working closely with the government to support the economy. For Ueda's, I'd also expect him to say that even with the hike, policy remains very accommodative, which shows that he's on the same page as the government in terms of stimulating the economy for him.
Brian, thank you. Brian Fowler there, our senior editor, joining us out of Tokyo. Of course, we'll have more analysis when it comes to that BOJ decision that'll be happening any moment, any few hours now, really including the outlook from the former BOJ Assistant Governor, Kazuo Moma. Those conversations coming up at the time of your screen.
That's what we're
and of course, we're going to recap what happened with that U.S. inflation print, right? Because it was enough to move the market, right? What happened when we saw this November print? 2.7%. That was below median estimates here. You take a look at how core CPI, that strips off, of course, the volatile items, that came in at 2.6%, also below median estimates. And people were questioning, why was there such a sort of abrupt, sort of dramatic fall or cooling of price pressures here? You got to wonder if things are a bit flawed, right? Given the fact that this government shutdown did possibly impact the data quality, especially since some of that October print was partially incorporated into this as that. But certainly there is some questions around whether we need to take this sort of data to face value. But markets were
2.7
saying
actually
enough. This is good enough for me to
2.6.
think that inflation might not be
3.1,
as big of a problem
3.1,
next year as some have suggested. Joining us now is Stephanie Lund, Chief Investment Officer at digital wealth platform Stashaway. Stephanie, it's great to have you as we count down to the end of the year. It seems like we're heading into next year. We're still pretty positive on the growth outlook, right? We take a lot of stocks. They're still looking pretty constructive. S&P is still within records. Credit spreads are still quite tight. And it seems like this is going to be a Fed that's going to cut into stability more than, anything worse than that. Is it still the good backdrop, the macro side of things?
Yeah. So I think
constructive on risk.
I guess last month or so we put out a piece where we say basically jobs market runs cool, AI runs hot, and the Fed runs loose. And to us, that's sort of like the Goldilocks scenario that you would have for equity markets. Given that I think the equity market is looking for a looser kind of liquidity situation to support some of the AI story to keep going. And I mean, jobs cooling down a little bit actually gives the Fed a lot of room to cut.
Yeah.
I think there was a bit of wobble kind of early in December because the market was worried that the Fed is not going to cut in December. However, I mean, now that the Fed is cut, that sets up like a path for next year for the Fed to continue on that kind of interest rate loosening path. And I think the CPI number was a good kind of indicator that, I mean, the Fed is sort of on the right path. Of course, as we turn the page next year, when we look at kind of what's going to happen to the U.S. economy, we think it's actually going to still stay quite strong or even accelerate. Because if you look at the fiscal spending side, in first quarter, second quarter next year, U.S. fiscal spending is going to be a very, very big supportive kind of element to drive GDP growth. In fact, if you look at the first quarter, even if Trump doesn't get his $2,000 check go through, still U.S. fiscal policy is going to give like 3 percentage point support to the US economy in terms of GDP. So that's actually very, very strong.
The key question now, whether if you risk assets can do well, I mean, with the AI trade, how much of this bullishness have been priced in? Do you think it's time to still double down on AI?
Yeah.
Or is it time to kind of rotate to some of these laggards that we saw this year?
Yeah, I think you've seen a bit of that happening in the past sort of 6 weeks or so. There's a lot of questions about whether we're in an AI bubble. And when we think about AI, we think of, I guess the framework that we use is sort of like a 3-part Fisher cycle. And a virtuous cycle, and you start with kind of tech innovation. Because I've always seen in terms of AI this year, in the beginning of the year, there was a bit of concern about, are we hitting a plateau in terms of AI model breakthrough? Right? DeepSeek came out, and there was a lot of question of, I mean, China can actually do it a lot cheaper. However, throughout the year, in the middle of the year, second quarter, third quarter, you've seen a rebound of US AI stocks because we found that actually the models can get a lot better with more compute. So scaling law still continues. That results in the second pillar of the virtuous cycle, which is investments. And I think if you look at the Max 7 earnings, they've grown like 30% odds this year and last year. And that shows you that these companies are reaping returns. And then the last pillar is, of course, funding.
Yeah.
And I think that was a lot of concern that market
I was going to say, right, when you take a look at something like what happened with Oracle and this news that Blue Owl is not going to be providing equity for just building out one data center, and it's enough to spook the market. So how big of a risk is that, the funding of AI?
Yeah, I think the market very, very quickly went from, just having these commitments is great to having these commitments but not having money is bad, sort of sentiment. I think that's a valid concern, right? Because it does require a lot of funding, $6 trillion in the next 5 years, and only half that is funded by the revenues of these hyperscalers. So a lot of that has to come from the debt market and the equity market. And hence, liquidity is so important because, I mean, the moment the Fed says, okay, we're going to put the brakes on stuff, we're going to start hiking interest rates, I think we may see a replay of 2022. Now, of course, so far, the Fed has been very, very accommodative, and I mean, fiscal policies have been accommodative. So we don't see that pillar breaking yet, but I think that is one big factor to watch for next year.
Stephanie, hold that thought up for Stephanie Lund, there, Chief Investment Officer at Stashaway, staying on for just a few moments as well. Coming up, we're going to have McKinsey joining us to explain why do you think the old China strategy playbooks are now obsolete and how businesses and investors should be approaching 2026 when it comes to China.
All right. Now we're going to finish with this module. We're going to go over these Windows 11 updates. The markets are pretty much in chillax mode until tomorrow. So let's just roll for it, okay?
Your BBOC fix here today.
All right, so here we go. Windows 11 gets a December Insider Update Pack with new features and AI upgrades. See if I can fix it. Sorry about that. Reveals Microsoft's next big push. Here is everything that is new. The latest Windows 11 Insider Build quietly adds new tools, user interface tweaks, and deeper AI integration. Some of these changes are pretty big. Give me 1 second, let me just program this so we can let it do its thing, you know? That way we'll close out with that. So open up your Google News. Let's go technology. And let's go Windows Central. Okay? This article is brought to us by Mauro Kukulak, Windows How-To Expert. Mauro Kukulak has been a Windows How-To Expert contributor at windowscentral.com. Please log on to windowscentral.com for more information, and thank you for sponsoring today's masterclass. For over a decade, with more than 22 years of combined experience in IT and technical writing, he holds professional certifications from Microsoft, MCSA, Cisco CCNP, VMware VCP, and CompTIA A+, Network Plus, and has been recognized as a longtime Microsoft MVP outside of tech. Mauro enjoys cycling, hiking, and discovering great food. So thank you, Mr. Mauro. As the year comes to an end, Microsoft is slowing Windows 11 development. But in the first half of December, the company released several preview builds with improvements through the Windows Insider program. In addition to the changes rolled out during the last half of November, the software giant has made previews of versions 25H2, 26H1 available in the previous 2 weeks. In the Canary channel, devices received 2 previews, including builds 28,000.1340 and 28,020.1362, which introduced a wide range of changes to bring version 26H1 closer to the feature level as soon as version 25H2 in the dev and beta channels. Additionally, the dev and beta channels didn't make many changes during the first half of December, but the company managed to release builds 26,220.7344 with several interesting improvements, and build 26,220.7523 brought more AI integration. In this recap, I'll highlight the biggest changes available through the Windows Insider program. Biggest improvements from the Windows Insider program in December 2025. These are the improvements Microsoft has rolled out since my last roundup of changes. Model Context Protocol, MCP, as part of Microsoft's strategy to keep pushing AI on Windows 11, starting with build 26,220.7344. In the dev and beta channels, Windows 11 receives support for the Model Context Protocol, an open standard that enables universal communication between AI agents, apps, tools, and services. According to the company, AI agents can discover and connect with other tools and agents on a secure and manageable on-device registry (ODR). In addition, Microsoft has released two AI connectors, including File Explorer and Windows Settings. The File Explorer connector allows agents to connect to File Explorer to manage and manipulate local files with the user's consent. On Copilot Plus PCs, this feature can perform searches during natural language and find the exact file based on description, metadata, and content. It can even search for images using image classification. The Windows Settings connector allows users to find and change settings, as well as navigate directly to a specific settings page on Copilot Plus PCs. Update Orchestration Platform (UOP). The preview build 26220.7344 also introduced the Unified Update Orchestration Platform, which allows developers to build a more consistent and predictable update experience through the Settings app. If a developer decides to implement this new orchestration, you'll be able to check for and download updates for the application on the App Updates page in Settings greater than apps. However, the application will continue to download updates from the developer server, not from Windows Update, but it will automatically check for updates based on the user's activity. Windows MIDI services. In the beta and dev channels during the month of December, devices also received the new Windows MIDI services, a new MIDI API service and SDK for the operating system. As part of this new experience, Windows 11 gets full support for WinMM MIDI 1.0 and WinRT MIDI 1.0 in-service translation, enabling any API to use any MIDI 1.0 or MIDI 2.0 device. Furthermore, there's a new loopback and app-to-app MIDI support, and Microsoft is pushing improvements and bug fixes. The company also notes that the APP SDK and tools are separate downloads. Xbox full screen experience for personal computers. Windows 11 build 28020.1362 expands the Xbox full screen experience (FSE) to more handheld gaming devices in the Canary channel. The feature has been designed to make the gaming experience more like a console experience. On your handheld device, you can enable the feature in Settings, Gaming, Full Screen Experience, and turn on the Enable Full Screen Experience on Startup toggle switch. Settings app with AI agent. As part of the latest preview build in the Canary channel, the Settings app is getting the same AI agent already available on Copilot PCs to help users find and change settings. In addition, on the home page, the recommended settings card will now show inline agent actions for the most recently modified settings. Furthermore, in the latest release of Windows 11, the AI agent isn't getting any new features, but the company is expanding the feature to more languages, including German, Portuguese, Spanish, Korean, Japanese, Hindi, Italian, and simplified Chinese. File Explorer New Dark Mode improvements. Devices in the Canary channel have received dark mode enhancements for File Explorer, meaning that now you'll find more elements using the dark color scheme. For example, the dark mode experience now expands to dialogues for copy, move, delete, progress bars, charts, confirmations such as skip, override, and file selection, and error messages. If you're installing the latest preview in a Copilot Plus personal computer, you'll also notice that the placeholder in the search box now makes it clear that search now uses AI and you can use natural language to search for files and folders. On the home page, when you hover over a file, the app displays a new inline menu with options such as Open File Location and Ask Copilot. We have already seen these changes in other channels, but it's not until build 28020.1362 that Microsoft is bringing these changes to the Canary channel. Although the company didn't mention it, you can now enable the max lower underscore path all capital letters option in the advanced settings page to remove the path limitations for traditional file and folder functions. Finally, Windows 11 build 26220.7523 rolled out with an updated version of File Explorer that includes support for Windows People Card (WPC), which adds the ability to display people icons with their information in the activity column of home, recommended, favorites, and recent. This feature has been available before, but it was limited to commercial customers. Now Microsoft is bringing it to users with a Microsoft account configuration. Drag tray disposable or disable option. The drag tray, the feature that lets you drag a file to the top of the screen and share it with other apps, isn't new, but in the latest operating system preview, you can now disable it. If this feature isn't for you, in settings/system/nearby sharing, you can now use the drag tray toggle to enable it or disable it. Mobile devices, settings, integration. In the Bluetooth devices section, Microsoft is finally integrating the features to manage mobile devices into the settings app. In the past, from the mobile devices page, you had to open an external page to access the features once your phone was linked to your computer, but now that's no longer the case. On the page, you'll find another page, usually with your phone brand and model, that lists all the available features, including the ability to remove the mobile device from your account. Virtual workspaces in advanced settings. In the advanced section, there's a new entry to access the virtual workspaces page that allows you to manage virtually every visualization feature in the operating system. For example, you can enable or disable Hyper-V, virtual machine platform, Windows Sandbox, and more. This integration means that you no longer have to manage these features from the legacy Windows features page. Keyboard and text cursor from control panel. Microsoft continues its quest to port control panel features to the Settings app, and with the release of Build 28002.0.1362, the company added two new settings: keyboard character repeat and cursor blink rate. The keyboard character repeat feature is available on Settings, Bluetooth and Devices/Keyboard, and the options include character repeat, delay, and rate, and there's an option to preview the changes. On Settings, Accessibility Text Cursor, you'll find the cursor blink rate setting with a slider to control the blink rate and preview to test the changes. Quick Machine Recovery Improvements. The Quick Machine Recovery feature has been available for computers enrolled in the Canary channel, but in the latest update, the company is changing the behavior. Starting with this release, the feature will be enabled by default on Windows 11 Home and Windows 11 Pro, unless the device is managed. Also, the feature will run only once. If the solution isn't found during the first scan, the user will be directed to the Windows recovery environment to select additional troubleshooting steps. As a result of the changes, the settings page has been updated. After enabling the feature, you only need to turn on the automatic check for solutions options. The default configuration of the feature is to run the scan once, but you can decide how often the computer should reboot to look for solutions. Windows Studio Effects for more cameras. Windows Studio Effects is no longer limited to your built-in camera. The Microsoft system is extending support to more camera hardware, giving you the same polished, professional look across more setups. On Copilot Plus PCs, you can now use Studio Effects with a second camera, such as a USB webcam or your device's rear camera. These features can be enabled on Settings, Bluetooth, and Devices cameras. Select the webcam and then click the Edit button for the Advanced Camera Options setting. Windows Spotlight for desktop changes. If the Spotlight feature is enabled on the desktop, you'll now be able to change to the next wallpaper from the context menu, and there's even a new option to get more details about the active background. A lot of cool features. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. I have to get back to the officina. I have a little bit more engineering to do. Of course, full rehearsal tonight. And we're going to work on a module. Let's do a comparison. Let's go SF90 Stradale versus E-Ray. We'll put them on the simulator. We'll put the Stradale on lane 2. We'll put the C8 E-Ray on lane 1. And we'll do our structural design module on that. So we'll see you in a little bit. Before I let you guys go, let's get a quick prayer in. You guys ready? Thank you, Heavenly Father, for the blessings in our lives. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for the blessings in our lives. We worry not about what we don't have because we're in the process of getting it. And in that journey, everything we do is in your name. Amen? Amen. May you have an amazing day today. May you conquer everything in your path. May everything that you touch turn into beautiful, solid gold bars and silver bars. And beautiful and precious gemstones such as moissanite or laboratory-grown diamonds or any laboratory-grown gem. Always remember to dream big because dreams come true. It happened to me, and I know for a fact it's going to happen to you. You guys have the best teacher in the world. So we'll see you at the officina because we'll be engineering on the way. And we're going to go pick up more toys for charity. And we're going to keep it going every single day until Christmas. So see you in a little bit. Dreams come true. I got the best teacher, man. It doesn't get it. If I don't excite you to learn about technology and engineering and business and investments, if I can help you, nobody can help you. We'll see you in a little bit. God bless. Peace out.